Alright, hello, and welcome. So today we are going to be testing another flavor of the purple sort of package with the snakes and the Merlin rabbits, the goats, the foxes, and a little bit of the crabs, as well as the Ursula's friends on the other side. This time we're going to be combining it with a little bit heavier steel presence. I think steel's very powerful in the metagame right now, especially with Tinkerbell plus Grab Your Sword being able to just destroy sort of everything on the board. I think that's pretty well enough to wipe most boards where you don't need the Be Prepared. This deck doesn't run nearly as many 1-drops, mostly because it has an actual 2-drop in Prince Eric that it can play. So it's not always just stuck doing nothing until turn 3. We've also got a Pick-a-Fight, which is a bit of a hedge towards some of the ward characters that exist, being very strong against the discard deck, as well as things like Cogsworth and whatever. It also is quite strong against like a random board when you also have Tinkerbell on the field, where you can attack into what they're doing. Tinkerbell can deal 2 damage to something else, and you really just like mess up their stuff. So this flavor is very Ursula heavy. It's possible that this is too many Ursulas, but I wanted to really give it a go with Ursula before I started dabbling too much with some of the other things. We are running 1 spellbook here just to make sure that we hedge a little bit more aggressively against the RP decks. Obviously, this isn't great against other steel decks, but we should have a decent setup there in the Ursula. And then Beast Tragic Hero is another way of drawing a lot of cards. It's one of the reasons that we were able to shave on a Merlin Rabbit pretty well, because we have other ways of drawing cards outside of just like the rabbits and whatever. So I think the deck is pretty sweet. It's got a lot of little techie packages in here. It's got the Benjes for sort of destroying some items. It's got the Tinkerbell that can shift and also filter our hand if needed. We've got the Beast that draws us a lot of cards. Yzma is a little bit of a concession to the fact that we don't have any real way of getting something like an Ursula off the table, sometimes a Cinderella. The 7-drop one, you need to just deal with it. But it can also draw you a little bit of cards, shuffle a goat back in, that kind of thing. And then otherwise, it's just got the same normal sort of package to finish with goats and spellbook. And then we've got some Let the Storm Rage on as another way of sort of drawing cards, filtering a little bit. This would be kind of in place of the Maleficent, because we have so many other 3-drops anyway. So let's kind of jump right into it here. Alright, so play a couple of games, we'll see where that leaves us, and then later I think we'll probably play some Fairy Tale Fight later, I think. I also do have a version that's good against discard. If we queue into discard a bunch, we might switch over to that one, but we'll see. Alright, so looks like we get to go first. We do have a 1-drop, a lot of 3s. I think we can get rid of the goat here. Probably one of the friends on the other side. I can't imagine that we need that many, right? Maybe keep the crab just in case we have to deal with something a little bit bigger. I do like the beast, though. Let's try this. Oh, nice. So we got a snake as well. I think we'll start out by getting rid of one of these crabs. We probably don't need 2, though sometimes 2 is okay. We'll play our Captain Hook and say go. We're likely looking to just bounce it back with the snake, so that we have a little bit more ink to work with. But I'm probably looking to play either Tinkerbell or Merlin Crab on turn 3, so that we can friends on the other side leading into our beast a little bit later. We'll see what our opponent is playing. opponent has a queen. Do we want to get rid of one of these beasts? We probably actually don't need the crabs as much here. At least not this early. Let's go ahead and do this, and then just say go. I definitely want to get a beast down as soon as we can. A little worried about this queen here since we have no real answers to it. Outside of just attacking it, it's more than likely that they're going to be able to set up a shift into a wheel, assuming that that's what they're playing. Which will lose a couple beasts, but that's not the end of the world. We can probably survive that, and it would, in theory, dig us into some swords to be able to sort of clean this up later. I do like that the swords are a lot cheaper than the Be Prepared as well, so some of the go-wide decks aren't as scary. Are they just going to wheel right away? I mean, if they do, that's fine. They opt to just quest. Interesting. I'm absolutely fine just trading here. I don't know if I love that from our opponent, but I appreciate what they're doing here. I think we'll just trade with it. We'll trade with it straight up. We'll get rid of the Captain Hook here. And then I'll just play out my Tinkerbell and say go. I'm A-okay with that. We trade 2 for 1 there. And we also... It's almost better than 2 for 1 because we got the ink off of the hook. So it feels even better than that, realistically. I'm fine with it. I'm definitely down to, like, draw 2 cards, ink something, and then play the goat here as well. So they have a swords in hand. Do we want to... Yeah, I feel like we draw first before I make any decisions here. Pick a fight would be really nice. Next turn, maybe. I think we'll get rid of Prince Eric and just play the goat. Drain him for 1, say go. And then we'll see what our opponent does if they end up trying to blow up our board. But we can always pick a fight with the goat next turn as well, which is kind of interesting. We can't quite grab your sword if we don't play one of these beasts. However, the added value of being able to, like, just punch this aerial if we need to, I think can be pretty interesting. And if they decide to just wheel us, it's a little annoying because we lose one of our grab your swords, but it's not the end of the world because we are still very easily threatening this aerial. And then... okay, so it's the flute deck. That's fine. We have benches in the deck. We can deal with the flutes. If they decide to just grab your sword here, I don't really think that that's that big of a deal for us. I'm wondering if we just wipe their board here. Because I can... So they have 2 cards left. I can get rid of a beast. I can sing, deal 2 damage here, and then just swords it. And then they're kind of just... They have nothing. And we still have our board. And then we still have a beast to follow up, worst case. I actually kind of don't hate that. We can start with this. We may not have to ink a beast. So let's sing this on the... with the Tinkerbell here, and just deal 2 damage to Ariel. And yeah, so we can ink Prince Eric here, and then we get to hold on to the 2 beasts, which I think is probably worth it. We'll do this, we'll clean up the board. They only have 2 cards in hand. Like, if their play is just a wheel, or if they had a Cindy shift, that kind of just doesn't work anymore. We can say go, and we can always just pick a fight and hit something if they have just a single card with this Merlin. And if they just decide to whole new world us here, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. Like, we are definitely favored in this spot. That's a great hand, actually. It's a really good hand. We get to play a Benja plus something. If they play a 1-drop here, I might just smash it even. Okay, so they don't play a 1-drop. I'm gonna Benja. I'm gonna blow up Sleepy's Flute. Let's get rid of one of these Captain Hooks. I'm going to just play the other Captain Hook here on this quest for 2 and say go. We could have looted with the Tinkerbell here, but I think our hand is fine. We're probably just going to like run out most of these goats, but I'm excited about playing this Ursula next turn. Given that it is very difficult for the color combo that our opponent is playing to get Ursulas off the table once they're already down. So they just straight grab your swords. I think that's okay, because they don't really add more material to the board. That lets us, in theory, quest with Benja and then Ursula as a follow-up. Or alternatively, depending upon what they play, we can interact with it. Perhaps like with Benja here. So, that actually makes me like the Let the Storm Rages on even more than I did before. I think we don't need all of these goats. We can play our Ursula out here, draw a card, and say go. So now we're kind of in the driver's seat here. It's going to be difficult for our opponent to really battle what this Ursula is going to be able to do, especially with nothing on the board. Like, their best play is probably just to straight run out a Cindy, maybe, but then we're still going to be gaining 5, and probably following it up with just double goat. Doesn't look great for them. Really, if they're doing anything other than, like, really trying to kind of flood the board, I don't know how they're going to keep up with this Ursula. And that seems unlikely, given that, yeah, they're just going to start trying to deal 2 damage to Ursula here, which is fine. That is not really a high-value play. It is sometimes what you have to do in Steel to try and get an Ursula off the table, given that she has 8 toughness. However, the only real answer that the Queen can offer is a shift plus another character, because then it can give the +4 to strength and then try to bash through it. We have a line where we just smash one of these and then play a goat. I don't hate that. We could leave the Simba, we could just smash the Queen. So the Simba on its own doesn't really do anything. Like, if they decide to attack with the Benja, we'll just get them with the Tinkerbell the turn after. I'm okay with that. Like, the Simba doesn't really do anything here. I think we just quest, goats, and then get rid of the little Tinkerbell. We could have played Little Tink here, just for the shift option, but I'm not really sure that it matters a ton. There is a world where we would want the ability to shift and play like another thing. But I think likely what we're going to be doing next turn is just questing and playing another goat anyway. It does limit our line of doing just like double Tinkerbell next turn, like shift to deal -2 to everything. So maybe that was worth considering. I kind of think that as it stands, they're kind of not winning this race. Like, even if they manage to clean up everything that's on this board here, the Merlin goat is just going, like, this one, or they're just going to clean up the whole game here. Yeah, if they don't attack and delete this strategy here, it's pretty well just over. I think we'll do that. We'll just play the rabbit. Draw a card, say go. Yeah, the game is just over here. It's kind of what happens when you disrupt their shift targets. Like, this deck doesn't do much. Especially if it can't sing the whole new world, it really kind of isn't a good deck. It is essentially like a deck that cheats on resources, cheats on the cost for your songs. And if it's not doing that cheating, like if it's not getting your 5 cost songs for the cost of exerting one of your characters, it really... It's really rough for them. So, a pretty good showing for our first game here. Let's update our record. A nice 1-0. So we go first. We don't necessarily need Ursula right away. We do have a 1-drop if we want. We have Prince Eric as a 2-drop, which is also good. We have a lot of Inkables in this deck, so we can like maybe do something like this. Mulliganing with this deck is a little tricky because I'm not terribly familiar with it, but this hand seems fine. I do like the Tiana with the crab, but I think we can maybe get rid of the crab here. Actually, I just don't even think we need the Tiana at all, given that we're on the play. Since we have the Prince Eric as a 2-drop, I just don't think that we need the 1-drop here. It's possible that we should just be running more Prince Erics then, because we just don't need the 1-drop effect as much. I think we can get rid of the goats. I think we just run the Prince Eric out and say go. So our opponent played a Cindy. Generally, this is looking to sing like the Raging Storm just to draw a card. Which, if you do have a smaller than 3 health character, it would just get to eat it and then draw a card, which is problematic. This way, they really can't sing with it, otherwise we're going to be able to just eat it with the Eric, which is nice. This looks like there may be a mid-rangey steel song deck, so not the flutes. The grab your sword is very good here. The crab is not maybe necessary. It is good against what they're doing over here. However, this Tinkerbell is also pretty good. If we can shift it and then grab your sword, that sort of blows them out. If we can use it just to draw a couple cards, that's also probably fine. If we need to sing the friends on the other side next turn, in theory we will. If we have something to ink that's reasonable, I think we'll do that and then just rabbit instead. Then we can use the rabbit to try and draw the extra cards, leading into something like the beast. So they decide to hit the Tinkerbell for 2. Are they going to shift and deal 2 damage? Like, what's the play here? I'm curious. I mean, I don't hate dealing a little bit of extra damage to the Tinkerbell because they're not necessarily set up to beat the shift here. Luckily, we don't have the shift. Oh, so they strengthen the Raging Fire. Okay, so they 2-for-1 themselves to deal with a Tinkerbell that we don't really need. And then we're going to be able to bully the Cindy with the Prince Eric. I think maybe we'll bully the Queen and let them keep the... we'll just bully them both. Let's see. Neat. So let's do this. Mim. Bounce the Prince Eric. We'll smack the Cindy, and then we'll just get rid of the Prince Eric, I think. Feels like a pretty good turn to me. Yeah, I actually really like the Prince Erics a lot. They play very similarly to the Snake, at least defensively, and then they don't require the 1-drop as much, so I am only running 3 right now, but it's possible that that number should be upped when we cut the Tiana. We have a 2/5 Donald Duck. Hey, Brunello, appreciate the follow. Given that we've got the Beast, as well as the Yzma and the Merlin Rabbit, I'm not sure that we need his friends on the other side. I'm going to keep the Yzma, and I'm just going to play this Beast here. Obviously, we could have sang with the Mim. Maybe that was better, but I was considering just not allowing it to be attacked into. And then we'll play the Beast, and we'll see where our opponent leaves us. So this is, during your turn, your musketeer characters gain evasive. It's also a 2/5, so not particularly scary against our beast here. We'll see what their answer is to it. They just decide to deal it some damage. I think that's fine. If they attack with their Donald Duck here, we are definitely just going to be able to beat it up. What do we do in this spot? Probably just the rabbit. Draw cards this way. At the start of your turn. So, on their turn, it is still just a 3/5. Which is unfortunate. It is possible that I'm just supposed to quest here anyway. So I think that I will. And I think I'm just going to get rid of the Yzma. And then say go. Since we have the Mim Fox, we can bounce the Merlin and replay it next turn, draw a couple cards. If we wait a few turns, we can also just bounce the beast and replay it. If we draw, like, the snake, we can get rid of the fox and do that. So they decide to Tinkerbell, so they do end up trading, or sorry, they do end up killing the beast here if they decide to attack it. Just fine. We can opt to set up for a grab your sword smash on the Tinkerbell. We can just mim into the Donald Duck and then draw a couple cards, which I think is probably better. Basically just doing the same play that we had originally thought would make sense, which is just drawing some cards, and then we'll deal with what they're doing later. Do we even care about this smash and this Tinkerbell? Not necessarily, since we have the other Tinkerbell. I think we bash here. I think we can get rid of the smash and just play the rabbit back out. Nice. So our opponent doesn't have a huge hand. The only thing that would be a little tricky in this spot is Whole New World, mostly because we have a pretty good hand as it is. They run out of queen, they could still Whole New World here. I don't like this attack from our opponent here. We can just Tinkerbell Mim, like so. And then leave them with just the queen here. I think we can sing this. And then we can ink one of these Captain Hooks. My voice is low. Interesting. Let me double check audio here. I can adjust the music a little bit. Alright, how's that? Is that a little better? Might be a little low. We'll tweak it. I think we can bounce the rabbit and replay the snake here. Just leave him with the queen for now. Oh, the follow alert. Oh, yeah. I thought we fixed that, but maybe I didn't. I do know that the that the alerts themselves are really loud. This should be like
here. Yeah.
This is better. Okay, well, we'll leave it for now. We may need to adjust it a little bit. So, given that our opponent played this here, we could grab your sword, but I don't think that's necessary. I'd rather just smash the queen, I think. But let's play the Merlin Rabbit. Yeah, let's just quest here. Kill the rabbit. Play a Captain Hook. Say go. Hey, End of One, how are you? They get to draw 2 cards with their Musketeer Tabards. I think that's fine. They don't really have a lot of resources to play with here. We're going to go up to 11, which puts us in a pretty good spot. They play out the Huntsman. We can actually bounce and replay our Tinkerbell and just take that out, which I think we're going to do. Quest with all these. We can ink the Captain Hook here. We will bounce the Tinkerbell and just replay the Tinkerbell. That'll destroy their Huntsman here. And we'll just say go. So we can go up to 17 next turn. It's going to be very difficult for them to keep up with what we're doing here, I think. This. Draw 2 cards. We'll just play some stuff out. Let's say go. Alright. I'll take our second victory here. Nice. Alright, so we scroll down, grab our deck again, we go back in here. I'll probably try to do maybe two full sets at least, and then we'll see where we're at after that. Liking the deck pretty well so far. Obviously, we haven't run into any RP yet, which is tricky generally, but we do have the Ursulas in the spellbook to hopefully help with that as well here. So this is a sort of a control deck. It's very similar to what we were playing with our RP deck, but because it's running steel instead, it's a little bit more mid-rangey. It's got a lot of stuff like the 5-drop beast and stuff like that, so then it's a little better set up to battle through the mid game rather than needing to wait until 7 to actually get anything going to catch up. I do like the Storm Rage on here, but I think if we send all this back, we do need stuff for ink as well. We go first, which makes this card a little better. Alright, send all my ink back to the well here. Okay, that's fine. We can get rid of a Tinkerbell. Our hand's a little slow, but we do have the ability to do this on whatever their 2-drop is. Or we could just run out the crab. We're likely going to ink the goat, and then probably the Tinkerbell if we have to. Mulliganing with this deck is a little tricky. Again, just not as familiar with the lines. I do think it's possible that we should have just kept a Friends on the other side, because worst case, it can be ink or the draw 2. Though I do think that the Storm Rage on is a very good card, because it has the ability to interact with what they're doing. We do this. I'm debating on this Captain Hook. If we play the Captain Hook out, then we're compelled to ink one of these two rather than not. And it really saves us not a ton. I think I'm just going to pass rather than playing it out, because I think based on our hand we may end up having to put it into the inkwell. And if we are putting it into the inkwell, then obviously I don't want to run it out. They're playing discard of some flavor. Another Captain Hook, sure. Another Captain Hook, sure. Do we want to commit some material to the board? I don't think that we necessarily have to. We can just let the Storm Rage on and take out one of these Captain Hooks. Say go. Hey Caramel, how are you? So I'm looking at probably running out this rabbit next turn. Nice. Yeah, I've been trying to... I know that my stream times are a little unusual, a little erratic, so I've been trying to focus a bit more on at least getting them up onto YouTube so that people can watch them at more convenient times. Given that they played a Prince John here, we really want to get this grabber sword as soon as we can. I don't think we're going to need this crab. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run out this rabbit here to draw a card, say go, and then next turn we're just going to grab your sword. We'll see what our opponent does here. If they make us discard too much, we'll probably want to lean into the let the storm rage on here. But if all they're doing is playing stuff to the board, I don't think I care as much. Normally the schedule would be better for you. Yeah. Eventually my sleep schedule will be a little bit more consistent too. So given what we're looking at here, we could let the Storm Rage on to draw another card to see if we can get a better ink. We could also just get rid of a Mim Fox and be fine with it. And then we'll just 4-for-1 our opponent. And then quest for 1. I think I'm kind of fine with that. We get to keep these in case they refill something. If they play a beast, I might just blast it for 2. Or even just play the Tinkerbell out. Because obviously we don't want them to draw. But if we can play our own, I think that would be also good. Yeah, the discard starts to look really bad if it's not drawing you any cards. They deal 2 damage to Merlin Rabbit. Yep. That is the thing that you can do. Let's draw here. We could Yzma our own Rabbit, but I think I'm fine just inking it, playing the Beast, and saying go. Since they already used a sword, like, unless their other card is just exactly swords, which doesn't really do much to forward their game plan here, it feels like we're in a pretty good spot. So we draw 2 cards. Let's draw a couple more cards. I'm fine getting rid of the Prince John here. I think I'm fine with that, yeah. I can even sing it here. I don't think I need the Tinkerbell. We can play a rabbit and then the spellbook. Even though we can't activate the spellbook, I think it's fine. We should just say go, and then we can start closing out the game here pretty quickly. Between the spellbook plus our board, even if they manage to clean it up a little bit, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Do this, this, spellbook, beast. The games are going pretty well so far. We are 2-0 currently with this deck. I have not played against some of the tougher matchups just in the format yet, but so far I'm liking a lot of the things that this deck is able to do. I don't know if I care about this Cindy at all. We're just going to draw a bunch of cards and kind of go around it. We could let them draw 2. Maybe I do that as a tempo choice. Do that. Let them draw 2 cards here. Just spellbook. Get rid of a snake. Say go. Their best play here is escape concede, I suppose. I can't really think of much for 8 in these colors that can really stop what's going on here. So Beast was very good this game, obviously drawing us a bunch of cards. Spellbook could have been any random thing, I think. It's not really meant for this matchup, but it did okay here. They play Beast and Hypnotize, sure. Alright, GG. So we'll take our nice 3-0 here. Then we'll jam another couple of games at least. Found the concede angle after all, absolutely. It is always an open option, just in case. I think what I like about this version over the Ruby is it just has the ability to interact with sort of the go wide strategies earlier. I feel like this is more of a mid-range flavor of that deck than a control version, just because it has, you know, it has the Beast, which is just a very mid-rangey card. It has the swords. It has like the smash and things like that, like ways of interacting with stuff on the board through the mid game. And I think like the ability to shift Tinkerbell plus swords and just like delete a board is not to be underestimated. I mean, it was good in the last set, it's good in this set. This hand is a little slow, like a lot slow actually. I think we want to get rid of at least some one of these goats. Maybe the crab. Like, I kind of want to keep the beast. We don't necessarily need the mim. Maybe we do this. Yeah, I wonder if the fox just isn't as good in this deck. It is obviously still a very good card. But with the less count on the earlier drops, I wonder if it's just not as needed. I will ink a goat. I do think that the goat is at its worst in this deck compared to the other deck, especially because we have other ways of sort of building up that mid-range presence and then closing. You don't always necessarily need it as much. We don't need the redundant Tinkerbell here. We can just say go. I will play out this one likely. Against this deck, the Beast is very good. Generally, this is RP of some sort, and I find Beast to be very brutal against me a lot of times. Maybe I can just get rid of the Mim here, given the hand texture that we have at least. Maybe this say go. We have the Shift Tinkerbell, which is very nice here. Like, we have a couple of options. We can choose to just let the Storm Rage on, which I think is what we're going to do here. We'll let the Storm Rage on, hit the Maleficent, we'll draw an extra card. I think we'll get rid of the Prince Eric and we'll play the Crab. And then just say go. And then next turn we have the ability to Friends on the other side, plus play a Beast. We can really do a couple of things depending upon what they decide to play. If they opt for a Maleficent, I think that's fine. I'm okay with doing this. Draw 2 cards off of that. I think we can ink the Captain Hook. And then just run out a Beast. And then I think I'm going to hold back the Tinkerbell here. We don't want to run into a Fox unnecessarily or a Maui. If they want to Fox and trade with the Crab, I'm okay with it. And if they decide to just leave, say, Maleficent in play and put something else down, we can always shift the Tinkerbell, bash the Maleficent, and kill Maui if they attack the Crab that way. We use the Beast to draw as many cards as we can. Hey, RMB, how are you? Oh no, my Crab. Whatever will I do? Well, we're probably going to draw some cards here. We'll probably shift the Tinkerbell. Not good. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, so let's shift this. And then we can attack here. Blast this. Oh, that's not great. I wonder if I put the Tinkerbell back in our hand and just have the Beast only. It's a little weak to Tremaine, so I'm not in love with that. I think I'd rather not leave ourselves vulnerable to Tremaine. I think I'm just going to get rid of the Merlin Goat here and say go. Like, I don't want to be unnecessarily weak to Maui to this Beast, and they don't have a way of getting rid of it for a full another turn. Yeah, we don't. We don't love that. But we can understand what's going on, you know? Okay, so here's the Tremaine. I do think I'm going to get rid of the Tinkerbell then. And then we're kind of okay with that. So we have a spellbook. I'm wondering if we just, like, jam the spellbook now. We can do... We can get the spellbook down and play the rabbit. We can Yzma the Tremaine. I don't love that, though. It is possible that they'll run out another Tremaine next turn. Just trying to figure out how much I care about this beast at this point. I want them to still be trying to deal with it. Let's play the rabbit, make a second Tremaine. Not great here. Tinkerbell is not incredible in this matchup. It's okay. But I think I'd rather do this and just say go. And if they decide to board wipe this, I think that's fine. It effectively time walks them. We get to slam another beast. Plus the spellbook here. I'm going to try and hold on to a random one-drop at this point, if we can. So that we can play something like beast plus a thing. They decide to run out an Ursula, sure. They draw no cards because we have not quested at all. Which is pretty good for us. Though, we are going to have to deal with this Ursula somehow. Probably Yzma. Just let them draw some cards. What do we think about that? I don't love it. But it is the play that we've got to interact with Ursula. How are we dealing with this Tremaine? Currently we're not. Do we need to be drawing much more cards, or can we just, like, attack the Tremaine? Yeah, I was at the point of just no spellbook and all the Ursulas instead, and that might just be correct. I haven't been very impressed with spellbook lately. It is good against this matchup, but it's, like, kind of whatever. We have a lot of draw. Maybe we don't need to worry about this beast as much. We can just bash both of these in and then Yzma the Ursula. I don't love letting them draw a bunch of cards, but we have to get rid of the Ursula here. And then I think we can just do this. Draw a card. We can ink maybe the Captain Hook, though I did just say that I wanted to keep cheap cards. I'm thinking about bouncing this beast to my hand and not even spellbooking. Because again, it makes the Ursula kind of bad. If it's not drawing a card, it's just like not as big of a problem. Because when we decide to turn the corner and start questing, we can close the game pretty quickly. And this also makes a Be Prepared not as enticing, because now the beast is no longer on the field. Yeah, Ursula down just still doesn't draw a card. Which obviously we're not intentionally going out of our way to make this card mid. We also don't have to lean into it being great either. So we could put the Ursula back in their deck again. Which is fine. Maybe unnecessary. We can gain 4 and just play, like, some rabbits. Probably like that a little bit more. Rabbits. Rabbits. I really like this Tiana, but it's gotta go. Alright, now we say go. So they have not been able to drain us any lore with the 2 Ursulas that they've played. If they sing Be Prepared here, then we can follow it up with like a beast and a goat, which seems likely to be what they're doing. But we'll get to draw a bunch of cards if they do that. If they sing Be Prepared, so they don't sing, they bounce the Ursula back and replay it. Okay, sure. I think that's really a race that you're winning, but it's not a terrible line. Maybe they're going to be prepared now to keep the Ursula in hand. Okay, sure. Sort of like time walks them, but I guess that's what they're looking for, so... This is 5... Maybe I don't care about this Tinkerbell again. I kind of like it with the grab your sword. Like, I'd really like to run out the goat plus do the spellbook this turn. I mean, the sword is weak in this matchup. It's not really meant for this match, though. I guess I don't need the Tinkerbell here. Like, I can just do this and the spellbook instead. I could see 3. It's really rough because the matchups for grab your sword is good. It's just like the best card in your deck by a lot. It's possible that just adding some things, more things that allow you to loot, to be able to discard them when it's bad would be better. As opposed to removing them, right? So they play a spellbook, that's fine. Looking for a Benja. Hey, Carlum. We're gonna run out. Is there a way that I can do this that I hate less, where we end up with a Mim in play? 3, 5, Beast. We'd have to ink a Mim Snake. Maybe that's fine. We get to keep the crab in hand then. Maybe I don't care. They've already used 2 B preps. Let's just do this and a crab. And then we'll spellbook. Yeah, I'm going to play another handful of games to finish out this set, and then I'm going to play some FTF, I think. Okay, so they B preps. That's 3 of their B prepareds. So that's fine. A little sad that we don't have our crab to deal with the Ursula that we know is in their hand, but let's do this. We can just draw a card with this, right? We don't have to have any characters in play. Not ideal. It's possible that we should have kept the crab, just because it gives us something as follow-up. And we know that they have the Ursula, but they have 2 Ursulas in hand. Okay, well that's not great. 2 Ursulas is problematic. I don't know if we're going to be able to win this one. Especially without being able to play any of our cards. Yeah, draw a goat and drain him out. It's hard to race double Ursula, though, because this card is an Ursula, I think. That is a lot of goats. Puts into 13, 14, 15. Like, we're already basically dead on board. Alright, I'm fine to concede this one. You got me. I don't think I played that one super well. We probably should have been leaning into keeping our Yzma, like the cards that are real cards, a little bit more, and less of the ones that bounce stuff. Possibly even wanting to keep the goat more aggressively, like, because we had so many bounces, we let one of our goats die to a Be Prepared when we played out a beast, and we probably just didn't need to do that. We could have just bounced that same goat like 3 or 4 times, and then maybe that beast was just unnecessary, and we just like do goat plus snake a bunch of times. That might have been a cleaner line there. This hand is a little slow. A lot slow, admittedly. We are going second. I can maybe keep a Tinkerbell until we know what they're playing. If we do something like this, it's pretty slow. Like, super slow. Ugh. That is a weird hand. Okay. We are 3-1 now. The Grab Your Sword would have been very good in this matchup here. And these hooks are okay. I think we'll get rid of friends on the other side. And then we may just run out the... bin this one, run this one out, and then might just draw cards for a couple of turns. They did nothing. Okay. So quest here, get rid of a hook. Make it into a 3-3. Say go. Could use a 3-drop of some sort. I wouldn't hate the deal 2. I almost kind of want the full set of them, just to be able to deal with these. So they let the Storm Rage on our Mim. Okay. What if I just do this? Put it back in my hand. And then just say go. I don't really need to draw 2 cards here, like it just doesn't matter. They just like cycled to draw a card. Why didn't they keep their Stitch? They have another one maybe? Or they have another one. Okay, sure. They decide to Whole New World. That's fine. So we have a new hand. I wish this was a 3-drop pretty badly. However, it is not, so I guess the better play is just to let the Storm Rage on and Mim it. Yeah, oh, we're killing the Rockstar for sure. I'm just debating how to do it. Whether it's Smash or... Yeah, I think it's let the Storm Rage on to draw a card. It gives us more choices. I think we might just play this Tiana. I think we're getting rid of the Goat. Play the Tiana. Like, I just don't see a time when we're going to be playing this Goat. Because we're going to be playing either Grab Your Sword or Beast next turn. You don't think so? I guess we don't need the Tiana. It doesn't really do anything. I got up in the Tinkerbell? Yeah, I can see that. With this much removal, we don't really need it. I want to put something on the board, so we're going to... Yeah, I think we put the Tiana here. That was my initial thought, just so that we have some material on the board. Makes our other things that we bounce a little bit better. Yeah. Like, this is getting smashed, probably. Almost certainly, actually. Send you to the Shadow Realm, Ariel. They are likely on lanterns. Not necessarily, I guess. They could be on flutes. We may want to keep the Benja, but I don't think it's really that needed. Do we want to bait the Simba into attacking? What does that do for us? Nothing? Like, what are they going to do? Attack Simba into here and then let the Storm Rage on, I suppose? We don't really need to let that even be a line. Could line up a good Grab Your Sword, that's true. And, I mean, if they're wasting time and resources just to kill a Tiana, I guess I don't really care either. Like, we don't have the bouncers in our hand right now. Like, I may not even play this spellbook at all, this based on our hand. Like, we're gonna be playing Beast long before we play this, and then we'll play the Goat first, too. A Tinkerbell is rough, because it just lets them eat the Tiana for free. But that's fine, we just followed up with Beast. I don't think that there's much that we can do about a... Rockstar's okay. I don't love it, but I think we just play Beast, and then we can set up this the turn after. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So we'll do this, push the Tink here, and then I guess we'll get in for our 1. So they still don't really have a way of punishing that at all. I'm surprised at the no attack, no block. I guess they're playing around Fox themselves. If they draw a bunch of cards here, like if they just cycle their hand to play a bunch of 2s, that's okay. Honestly, I would rather them do that than Whole New World. Like, Whole New World here is a disaster. Well, I mean, it's not that bad, but it would be better for us if they just say go or quest. That surprises me. That seems like a weird choice, but I'm fine with it. I'm trying to decide if it's better to sing this. I'm debating on this 2 lore here. So if we sing this, cast this, we'd still have 4 remaining. We can just play a Goat. Or we can quest here. I think I'd rather just sing, honestly. Oh, we have to sing, because we want to cast the smash. I don't know what I'm saying here. We have to sing anyway, because we want to smash, but... Because, like, I don't care about this Simba, really. I just want to get rid of one of these goats, and then... play this other goat. And say go. And now we're, like, in the market to... like, let's say that they decide to smash the Simba into the beast. I don't care, because I'm just deciding on questing with these most of the rest of the game anyway. And we don't really need more cards. Like, our hand is pretty good. They play out a Tink, sure. Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Now maybe we just don't worry too much about it. We can just say go. We can quest the goat, yeah. I don't want to quest the beast unnecessarily, because it just gets to eat what they're doing for free. I just don't want them to be able to, like, tank the beast and kill the goat. I think that's unnecessary, but if they want to attack the goat directly, I think that's okay. Because then we can follow it up with, by, like, bounce the beast, replay it, and then just bash the Tink here. Yeah, that's fine. They could always hit the beast and then sing, but I think that's fine. Right, let the Storm Rage on, sure. Again, they're using a lot of, like, time and effort to try and deal with a beast that we just, like, don't really care that much about. Like, I'm probably on board to... If they don't quest with this, if they do... What's the play? We can Ursula here. Merlin, Fox, kill the Tinkerbell, leave them with just a queen against a 2-damaged Ursula. I don't know if I hate that. We get to draw like 3 cards. I don't think bouncing the Ursula to my hand makes sense, but I do think that I want to take out some of the things on their board. That's a grab your sword. That's pretty good. That would have been a good alternative if we had it earlier. We bash here. I could just ink this and say go. Because, like, we don't want them to have queen plus stuff, because then that's how they can deal with Ursula favorably. Now, like, their best hope is to attack into Ursula, deal it some damage, and then do another thing to deal it damage, which is just, like, playing into the grab your swords. Okay. Yep. So they do nothing. Okay, so we can grab your swords the queen. We don't have to, necessarily. I'm gonna just play a rabbit to start, I think. We have a Mim. If we take out the queen, then they really don't have anything. Yeah, now could be a good time for book. That would make sense to me. Hit the book, and then I don't think we care about this Captain Hook. It's kind of bad in this matchup anyway. I think I say go. And then if they opt to wheel, like, it doesn't bother us that much. Like, we lose a grab your sword, but all they really have is the queen on board right now. So they got a Rockstar and a Simba. It's Simba to draw a card. We could use another thing to deal with what they've got going on over there, but we're likely going to be grab your sorting next turn. We may even rabbit here just to kill what they're doing. We'll see. Smash should be a good draw. Pick a fight. Interesting. It doesn't exactly do what we want, but it could be useful later. Yeah, I think it is rabbit here, and then just... Well, we can play the other rabbit first. Mim Fox. Man, I wish I could sing this. Then we could just punch the Stitch. For now, I think we'll just do this. Clean up a bit of the board. I don't actually think that I need this snake. if we have the fox, so that we can push the spellbook here and say go. Hopefully they don't have too many 1-drops this turn. But we will be able to take this Stitch out no matter what next turn. And we can clean up quite a bit of what they're doing, I would think. Even if we have to bin one of our rabbits. They play a Cindy, which is pretty tricky with no crab. If they opt to quest with this Stitch, or if they don't, I think we can take it out either way. So they do quest with it. That's fine. We can save the pick a fight then if we want. Wow, crab is such a good draw here. Okay. So we can kill this Cindy then with one of these Merlins, and we can still fox this. We can actually kill their whole board. Okay, so we do this. We crab here. We crab here. We fox. Bounce the crab. Crab again. Pick a fight, Cindy. Read the fucking card. So I had to target my Merlin here. If I target the rabbit with it, I can actually kill the Cindy. I fucked it. So we can't. That's unfortunate. I needed to target the rabbit with it. Well, I guess we'll have to pivot to do something else because we messed up. It's fine. We'll do that. We'll quest. And then we'll do this. Yeah, that would have been very good if I would have played it correctly. This specifically, I needed to target the one that I buffed. So realistically, that wouldn't happen in paper. But mechanically, that's the first time I've ever actually cast that card. So mechanically, we just did it wrong, which is fine. It happens. So play Tink. They blow up our board. We might actually lose this game then, which is really unfortunate. Like, we almost certainly lose this game now. Because they just have a Cindy on board for free. That's too bad. If we draw another Fox Mim, we... 4, 5, 6, yeah, another Fox Mim could do it. 5, we can maybe race it. If I do Benja, Beast, Spellbook, go. That's unfortunate. That's my own fault. Learn to play your cards properly, I suppose. But yeah, that run out would have been very, very strong. Being able to both knock out a Cinderella and the Stitch and their other cards, so then all they had was Tinkerbell, would have been very, very strong there. Because we would have still had the one rabbit in play, and then the crab as well for the follow-up. No, the Tinkerbell would have killed the rabbit, so we would have been down, but the Cindy would have been gone, which would have been favorable there. Okay, so that's actually good for us, because we can take out the Cindy and the Tinkerbell here. Crab. Crab here. Fox. Bounce the crab. Hit the Benja. Benja hits here. Crab. Crab hits Fox. Fox hits here. This is why I like the crab, by the way. Crab is, like, very unreasonable. Maybe we can salvage this game. A goat would do it, I think. So we could just drain them out then. Lantern doesn't do much. If they wheel us, that would be very good. They may have to Whole New World in this spot. I'm surprised that they didn't tap their Lantern for this Stitch. Are they debating attacking the beast? I don't think they can do that, right? They have to just quest. Ursula, grab your sword. I mean, the play here is certainly Crab, grab your sword. I think it's actually Sing. And then attack here. And then play Ursula. And then get rid of this. Play the goat. And say go. Nice, we salvaged it. Despite our making a pretty egregious error there by not playing our cards correctly. We still had the crab in hand, so we salvaged it. Not too bad. Yeah, I think the crab is probably at its best in a deck like this, weirdly. Yeah, purple cards can be pretty dumb. Like, the coming and going, the fact that the crab gives you a reasonable answer to something like Cindy or something like Ursula, being able to, like, crab, target a thing, bounce it, target another thing, or just target the same thing twice, allowing you to, like, trade way up, is pretty powerful. I could definitely see even another crab, potentially. Especially if you have the big punch just to break through what they're doing. Like, I really do think that Pick a Fight is pretty strong. As, in theory, evidence there, if we actually had hit... Currently I'm on 5. I have the full set of hooks, and then 1 Tiana. Because really, like, we don't need it. Like, this interaction is nice, but we don't need it as much. But if we would go up in crabs, we could potentially go up in these. Because if you have the crabs, you don't necessarily need the hook as much either. I have 3 Erics, yeah. I really want another thing to ink, but I like everything that's in this hand. Dude, we can just ink the Tinkerbell, I think it's fine. This hand is pretty good. Even if we're just... I could have maybe gotten rid of one of the Let the Storm Rages. I think that would have been acceptable. Especially for this matchup, I think it would have been fine. But it's okay. Yeah, I think we get rid of this. We don't necessarily need this Tiana anymore if they're gonna do... If we're against the RP deck. We don't need the 1-drop. We can just, like, play... I guess we can do Snake into Eric later or whatever. Yeah, I think that's fine. This makes it so that, like, if they just attack with this and don't turn it into a snake, I can just bop into it, and then we can bounce it back, and then we can let the Storm Rage it later. Yeah, they snake it. That makes sense, too. Hey, Ducky McQuacks. Appreciate the follow. Thanks for hanging out. Ursula. Crab is a good way for us to trade up. We can get rid of the snake and actually play the Prince Eric here. And then the following turn, we can actually crab the Tiana and trade up that way. Actually don't hate that. Though the Mim does allow us to ink the Tiana. I actually think we can use the Tiana as a resource to, like, get rid of a Mim. Think about that for a second. It's gonna be rough on our ink here if we do it that way. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to do it that way, unfortunately. I actually think I have to get rid of this Prince Eric. Given that we have the Ursula, like, we already have good payoff later, I think I can do this. And we'll just, like, use the crab as just a generic 3. If they play out the flyer... this is fine. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just trade here, and then I'll just let the Storm Rage on the Maleficent, and I'm okay with that. So if they decide to attack with this, I'm just going to wipe the board. We can keep the Tiana over the bell here. I'm fine doing this, and then just this. And then saying go. If we can hold on to the Benja for a little bit, I will. But I'm also not afraid to ink them in this matchup. If they do have the spellbook, obviously we want to attack it if we can, but if they do not, then I'm fine getting it down. On this board, I'm just going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to ink something. Probably the crab. If they have Ursulas, we do want the crab. Maybe this is where we ink the Benja. I'm not actually going to play this Tiana. Because it's going to protect our beast next turn. The goat's going to get in a couple of times. Not a whole lot that I can do about that, but if their play is just to draw 2 cards and then hit us for 1 with the goat, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. So we untap, we're going to slam a beast here. This would be our only other Benja in the deck. Ideally, we don't ink that right away. Man, this deck is like really rough on ink. Maybe I don't need the second beast. I'm gonna get rid of the beast here. The second one anyway. Into this and pass. So, theoretically, what this lets us do is protect from Tremaine while presenting a pretty solid threat that they're going to want to be prep at some point. And then we can follow up their B-prep with an Ursula. Ideally, we have a Tiana to protect our Ursula when we play it, but like, we might even snake the Tiana back just to sneak in a little bit of damage. Just like have a snake out there instead. Nice. That's very good for us. So we have a couple of options here. If we assume that they're going to be prep, which is pretty likely, we can, like, Tiana here. We can sing Let the Storm Rage On, Benja, and then keep the Benja in our hand. Well, we're playing Benja 100% of the time. So I think we'll play that and pop this spellbook, because that's just a guarantee. I think I'm always doing that. I'd like to get this snake off the table. Maybe we just don't do anything with this beast. I really want to keep the crab in my hand is basically where I'm at. Maybe I just don't worry about this Mim at all, and I just do the same thing that I was planning before, except we bounce the Benja to the hand instead. What am I inking here, then? I guess we have 2 Ursulas. Let's do this. Put the Benja back in my hand. Let's do this. And then just attack here. Then we'll ink the Tinkerbell. Then say go. Like, if I don't play down the Ursulas, like, if they beat Prepus or whatever and I don't play the Ursulas for another 2 turns just to work around with that Tiana, I'm just, like, not going to be doing anything for a while. If they decide to Maui the Beast, like, it's a little annoying, but Be Prepared seems the most likely outcome here. And then we can just do this. And then draw a card. And then it's a little soft to a Tiana here, but I think it's okay. Or it's to a Tremaine. But it has to specifically be Tremaine in this spot. Yeah, it's unfortunate. That kind of makes me want more 1-drops in the deck. Like, to be able to play around Tremaine a little better. We can afford to be a little patient to play around Tremaine here, maybe. What if we do Crab, Prince Eric? I guess it's that they can't really attack. We could also just play Prince Eric straight up. Ink the smash. That's fine. And then if they play another Tremaine, it's sort of just baiting out an Ursula here. Sorry, it's baiting out protection for Ursula, just by the very nature of having having two of the Tremaines already down. So they play a goat. That's fine. They get rid of Teeth and Ambitions as well, so they have one card left in hand. Ugh, Spellbook. Okay, so we can crab and trade with the Tremaine at 4. I think we have to play Ursula here. That is a good draw. Can we afford to hold on to this Benja? I think I can. I think I can afford to hold on to Benja for 1 turn. Okay, so their hand was an Ursula. So we can clean up everything but the Ursula pretty easily. They opted not to attack with the Maleficent. So if we Eric this, Ursula has... I mean, we could kill Ursula here too. We'd leave the Tremaine in play, unfortunately. Because we can crab, Fox, pick a fight. If we double hit the Ursula, we can bash the Ursula into their Ursula. And then we can kill both of these, and it'll just be Maleficent with our Ursula. And then that lets them Tremaine us back if they have it. Okay, let's crab. I think it's maybe what we have to do here. Bounce the crab. Ursula. Pick a fight. Hit here. 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 Come on. Hopefully their hand isn't just Tremaine actual. Be unfortunate if true. Nope, it just is. Okay. Unfortunate. We kind of needed it to be anything but Tremaine there. I'm surprised they didn't just Ursula or Maui it. I guess because Tremaine is a better threat here. We kind of just have to play stuff down to the board. This lets us grab your sword to clean up the board a little bit, but I don't love it. Ursula is pretty brutal against this deck. We have to use way too many resources, I feel like, to catch up. They Fox, and then they get to replay their Tremaine again. Damn, that's brutal. This is rough. Really rough. Guess we draw a card. Suppose we're just dead to goat. No matter what here. The Tinkerbell doesn't even really do anything here, huh? Yeah, go. Goat just kills us. Goat or Spellbook. Yeah, this deck probably needs more 1-drops to deal with Tremaine, because the Tremaine just buries us. Maui on the crab. Well, we get to clean up the board, but we're still pretty big dead to a goat. Not much we can do about that, though. So we'll play Grab Your Sword. Hit here. Draw a card. See where we're at after we draw a card. Another Grab Your Sword. We have to hit here. I think our play is to hook. Play this instead. Then ink the hook. Because I would need the ability to play both of these next turn, I think. If they play an X3 of some sort. Oh, just another Tremaine. Bury me in Tremaines, I suppose. This deck is pretty soft to Tremaine, it seems. Yep, they got me. This deck feels incredibly soft to Lady Tremaine. But I do think that there's something here for sure. I don't know if the version that we're playing right now is the ideal run out for it. Here, let me refresh the client here since we still have not gotten that fixed. Not super high priority, I think. It just doesn't update your deck stats while you're playing. Okay, so looking at the deck, we've got 4 and 2. It's fine. We lost to red-purple 0-2, which is pretty brutal. Like, ideally you would want to be playing a deck that is good into red-purple, and it's possible that we just didn't play the matchups super well. We did bully the Amber decks, which I would assume is generally what we would want to be bullying with this, because we're playing Steel. A lot of times, the Be Prepared and, you know, sort of, to some extent, like the Mauis and things like that, are generally very good against sort of the mid-rangey part of these decks. So that's not that surprising that they did well. It felt like Tremaine was incredibly powerful against the way that this deck was constructed. It could be that this needs to shift into less sort of spellbooky stuff, and more of the sort of lower drops with the crab to try and trade. The fact that we only have 2 rabbits is also kind of rough in the mirror. We may need to go back to the drawing board a little bit for how we're going to interact with red-purple. Normally the spellbook is good here, but without the Be Prepareds and the Tremaines of our own, that sort of late game, you know, slugfest that normally you would do in the red-purple mirrors just doesn't really work super well. They have better cards. They are, you know, 2-for-1ing you a lot more comfortably than you are. It's possible that more Yzmas to be able to bounce like the things that we're already doing, you know, Yzma bouncing the crab that's already in play so we can get the effect and draw 2 cards. Like those might be something more worth leaning into, and it also gives us a little bit of a better answer to Ursula. Because Ursula's seeing so much play right now, it's maybe hard out there to be playing a Steel deck without some better answer to it, and really, I don't think Steel necessarily has a super good response to something like Ursula. I don't remember a card, like a new card especially, that gives us a good advantage against something like an Ursula. Really, it's just giving higher levels of challenge to try and, you know, rumble into it, but that's not necessarily awesome. Yeah, Cinderella, like the Shift Cindy is okay, but again, that doesn't even really deal with the problems that we were facing. I mean, the things that we were getting bullied by, really, it was Ursula and Tremaine. You know, we're losing to some of the more expensive cards from these. So we were losing to Ursula, which has 8 toughness, or 8 willpower, which is just a ton. And we were losing to something like what am I missing here? Tremaine. Tremaine is a 6 cost, that's why we're not seeing it. And we're losing to Lady Tremaine, not necessarily because Lady Tremaine is insane, it's just the effect of do a thing plus play a 3/4 body was more than what we were equipped for with the way that our deck was currently constructed. And maybe that just means that we need more things that interact with 3/4s, or we just need to flood the board a little bit more. But the reason that Tremaine is so powerful in that deck is, you know, you run out the Be Prepared, and then if your opponent's retaliation against that is just to, you know, slam one big thing, you know, say play a beast afterwards, then all of a sudden the Tremaine is just insane. It is as good as a Maleficent Dragon could ever hope to be, while also costing a lot less, which is the way that deck plays. You know, having played a couple hundred games of it so far, it's rough. It's rough. But I don't know if there's necessarily a solution to that in these colors, which is why Ursula is seeing so much play, because it is very strong against steel. Because a single big threat just isn't really that good against what they're doing. I wonder if just like leaning into the crabs a bit more is sort of the way to go, just because it gives you the ability to fight that sort of a strategy a little bit. You know, we don't have a lot of things that have 5 power in the deck, like nothing actually. But double crab is a possibility. It just, again, it's a little rough. I've seen some decks playing Elsa, which perhaps we try a version that has a few Elsas in it as a way of just racing. But I think the Be Prepared matchup's a little tough right now, so it needs a little bit of work. But we'll keep tweaking it. I do think that there's something to this steel deck, certainly because all of the decks that red purple are really weak to, say the discard, some of the faster decks if you don't have a teeth draw. The steel deck just sort of bullies around, and it just doesn't care about those at all. And you're able to sort of work around that pretty easily. So I think it's got some legs. It's very interesting, and we'll just keep working on it. So I like it. I'm a big fan. So I think that's going to be it for this deck for right now. You can find the deck list on the links below or here as well. Just run Goofy, yeah. So the deck is here. There will be a link to it below. So don't forget to follow, subscribe, subscribing to YouTube especially would be very helpful. We're trying to hit that 1,000 threshold, and we're sort of working towards that. I'm looking at improving the YouTube videos a bit rather than just dumping the VOD directly. We're doing some additional processing on them and such. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you with the next video.